you're watching this video tutorial, then you have attended my beginners crochet class. This tutorial accompanies that class. So what I'm going to show you should be familiar, and this video just allows you to be able to go home and carry on with everything that you've learned today in the class. When I first started to crochet, I was taught over an evening class, and then I went home and couldn't remember half of it and didn't carry on doing it. So this video tutorial will help you to be able to carry on doing what I've shown you, so you can practice and just improve your skills from there. So I'm going to be making a small crochet basket. Now, the brilliant thing about this pattern is that you can choose the size of your basket by stopping or continuing to grow your base for as much as you want, and then you can come up the sides as shallow or as deep as you want. So you could create something, say, similar to this, actually, this size, to keep crochet hooks, for example. So you could have a base that's yay big and come up that far. If you wanted more of a shallow kind of thing to keep trinkets in or something, you could create a base that was yay big and only come up a little bit, and you would have a shallower, broader basket, dish, whatever you want to call it. For the ease of this tutorial, I'm probably going to do about 5 or 6 rounds for the base. They follow a pattern, and once you get going with it, you'll remember from the class that once you get going with it, and you kind of see how the pattern evolves, actually, once you become a bit more proficient, you won't even need the pattern because you'll just know where you're going to do your increases. But you have the pattern alongside this tutorial, and between that and this tutorial, you should be fine. Okay, so I've got my wool. This is a chunky size wool and a 6mm hook, just like we did in the class. So the first thing we're going to do is make a magic ring. Now, to make a magic ring, you want to have the yarn over your fingers, make a loop round and cross back over, and then you're going to pick up the yarn through the middle, pop your hook in there and pull down that. I like the magic ring because you can close it fully and you don't end up with a hole in the base of your basket. Once you get this, you will find that it is, you just do it. So let me show you again. So you wrap the yarn over your fingers, pop that bit up through the middle, and that's the bit where you put your hook, and then you just pull down on that to make that tight, and then you start the pattern. So the pattern is to chain 2. So yarn over hook and pull through, yarn over hook and pull through. So that's your chain 2. The chains at the start of these rounds do not count as stitches, okay? So at the end of this round, it'll say 12, and you've got 12 stitches. This does not count. That varies between patterns. Some patterns will say that your chain 2 does count as the start of your trebles or your half trebles or whatever you're doing. In this pattern, it does not count. So you then want to go on and make a half treble, which is yarn over, insert your hook into the loop, into the ring, should I say, pull up a loop, and you've got 3 on your hook, and then you're going to yarn over and pull through all 3, and that's your first half treble made. You want to make 12 of these in total, okay? So yarn over, insert into your ring, pick up a loop and pull through. You've got 3 on your hook, yarn over and pull through. So that's the second one. So you're going to keep going, yarn over into the ring, pick up a loop, pull it through, yarn over, pull through 3, yarn over into the ring, pick up a loop, pull it through, yarn over, pull through all 3. So you can count your pairs on the top. So each stitch at the top, so there's your stitch here, and at the top you've got 2 parallel lines. That indicates the top of your stitch. So to count your stitches, you simply count those pairs. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So we've done 4 and we've got 8 to go. Okay, so yarn over, in, pull up a loop, 3 on your hook, yarn over, pull through all 3. Okay, so we're going to do 12 of these in total. . very easy to get carried away. So let's just count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I need 2 more. So I'll show you these 2 slowly again. Yarn over, into the loop, pull up, 3 on your hook, yarn over, pull through. Okay, just keep that around there like that. Yarn over, into your ring, pull up a loop, 3 on your hook, yarn over, whoops, I'm going to do that again. You don't want to split your wool because you'll see it and then you'll wish you'd undone it. Yarn over, in, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all 3. Okay, so we can count our pairs on the top, okay? So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, because that 2 chain there doesn't count, okay? And then put that nice and big so you don't accidentally pull it and undo your work. You want to get that end, and this is why it's called a magic loop. So hold that securely there and then pull that. And you will pull it all and you'll close. You can go quite tight and you don't have a hole in the bottom. So to then finish it off, you are going to go into a slip stitch in that top pair from that the two bits at the top of that stitch there. So if you want to make sure you're in the right place, just count back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So you're going in here, okay? So we're going to do a slip stitch in here. So simply pop your hook under both of those loops, pick up your yarn, pull it through, and then keep on pulling it through, and that's your slip stitch made. And that is your first round of the base of your basket. Okay. You're then going to chain 2, start the second round. So 1, 2, and we're then going to carry on. So the first thing you're going to do is a half treble into the same stitch as your slip stitch, okay? So you're going to do yarn over, and we're going in here under those 2. And we're going to do 2 in each one around, okay? So we had 12, we're going to do 24 at the end of this, okay? So let's get a bit more wool. So that's 2 in that first one. So that's 2. And then 2 in that next one. So that's 4. Yarn over in the top there, like so. Pull up a loop, 3 on your hook, pull through, yarn over into the same stitch because you're doing 2 in each from the previous round. So you can see there that you've gone in 1, 2, 3 stitches in the previous round, but you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we're going to keep doing the same all around. 2 in that one, so that's 8. 2 in this one. So that's 10. 2 in this one. Right, let's just do a quick count, check we're okay. So we're not counting that 2 chain there because they don't count. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So we should, if I've got this right, look at that. It's like I've done this before. So we've got 2 there and 2 there. Okay, so we've done 20. So we're going to do 21, 22nd in the same one. And then we're going to, whenever you take your hook out, top tip, just make that really big and then you won't lose it. There's nothing worse than having to try and fiddly pick up your hook and unraveling half of your work. You can just close it again. And then we're doing our last 2 in here. So 1 in there, 1 in there. There we go. So let's just double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Fabulous. And then we're going to slip stitch into the underneath here of your first half treble. So there's your pair that went in the first one from here. So there's 1 and 2 of this round of 24, and you're going to go, she says, in there. Okay, so slip stitch, insert your hook, yarn over and pull through the stitch and the loop on your hook, and that's your second one made. That's the back, that's the front. Sometimes this comes a little loose until you've really given it a really good pull, and then weave the ends in. See, I've managed to close it there. It will probably reopen up as I'm working, but once you weave it in and secure it, it will be absolutely fine. So round 3. So we did 2 into every one from the round before that. So we doubled from 12 to 24, or we added 12. 12 and 12 is 24. We are going to keep adding 12 each round. Okay, so the next round is going to have 36. So the way we're going to do that is we're going to do 2 half trebles and a half treble, and we're going to alternate that all the way around. So in every other stitch, we're going to do an increase by putting 2 stitches into 1, just like we did an increase on every single round here. Every single round we put 2 stitches into 1. That's called an increase. We're going to increase every other stitch now. Okay, so what we're going to do is a chain 2, which remember doesn't count, and then we're going to put 2 half trebles into that first stitch. So there's your 2, the first pair there from the previous round. This is the stitch that you put your slip stitch into and that your chain has come out of, and you're going to do 1 in there and 2 in here, and we're going to do that all the way around. Okay, so half treble, so we're going to do 1 in there, okay, and then we're going to do 2 in there. Going to do 1 in there and 2 in there. So for every 2 we're getting 3. So for every 2 on this previous round we're getting 3. So that's going to make our 24 go to 36. Okay, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, because we've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we're just going to keep on going. Okay, so we've got 1 here, and then we've got 2 in this one, and then we've got 1 in here and 2 in here. Ooh, hang on, start again. Never if you feel like you've split your wool like I did there, never let that stay, because it'll annoy you. You'll see a little bit sticking out at the end and you'll wish you'd done something about it at the time. So there was 2 there, 1 there, so 2 in here, one in here, 2 in this next one, etc. Okay, and I will see you when I've got round to the other side. I'm going to keep going, 1 in one, 2 in the next. Okay, so here we are with the last 2 stitches. Now I didn't put the stitch marker in that time because now it's quite obvious. If you want to do it, you can. Just pop it in the last stitch before you make that chain 2. Once you've done your slip stitch, just pop it in the last half treble from that round. You might notice, like mine is, that it's puckering a little bit. Once it's done and it's flat and you've got the size and you've stretched it all out, it will sit flat. Okay, so don't worry about that. Okay, so we're going to do our slip stitch into our first stitch of that round, which is that one there on its own. So in under those 2 loops, pick up, pull through that one and pull through the one on your loop. Now if you wanted to put your stitch marker back in, that's the slip stitch, you'd pop it in just there. Okay, so round 4. So that one we did 1 half treble, and then in the next stitch we did 2. To increase on this round, we're going to do 1 half treble, another single half treble, and then 2 in the 3rd stitch. So we're making 3 into 4. So chain 2 doesn't count, remember, So we're going to do a half treble into the same stitch that we just did that chain to. So we're doing a single, and then a double in here, an increase. Okay. So 3 stitches there have become 4. So at the end of this round, that's going to take your 36 to 48 and it's going to keep growing your base. Okay. So 1 half treble, 1 half treble, and an increase, 2 in that stitch. Okay, so we've got to the end of this round and we have 44 stitches. So we've got 4 stitches to go and we've got 3 stitches from the previous round to pop them into. So I'm going to do 1 half treble in that one, 1 half treble in that stitch, and then we're going to do our final increase of the round by popping 2 half trebles in that last stitch from the previous round. And then we're going to close and finish our round by popping a slip stitch into that first single half treble from the previous round, which is these 2 here. So insert your hook under there like you've done on previous rounds, yarn over, pull through the stitch and pull through the loop on your hook. Now it is going to keep puckering. It is going to keep puckering, but trust me when I say it will sit flat. Okay, and once you've got whatever you're going to put in it, you could use these as candle holders. You could use these to keep your hooks in. You could use them to keep your makeup brushes in. You could use them for all sorts. Yeah. Right, that's round 4. 1, 2. See how you count your rounds? So that's round 1. That's round 2, that's round 3, and that's round 4. Okay, so then we're going to do round 5. Now you can see the pattern here. We had 1 single stitch, and then we had an increase of 2, and then we had 2 single stitches and your increase of 2. So this next round is going to be 3 single half trebles and an increase of 2, and that's the pattern you keep on following to extend your base as far or as little as you want. So you do 3 half trebles and then an increase on this round. The next round you do 4 single half trebles and then your increase, and that's your pattern repeat, and you can go as big as you want really. Okay, so for the sake of this I'm going to do 1 more. So we're going to do a half treble, chain 2 there. We're going to do our first half treble into our stitch there and pull up like so, like that. Okay, so we're doing 3 of these. So that's our first half treble, that's our second half treble, that's our third half treble, and then we're going to do our increase by putting 2 half trebles in that stitch there. So as on previous rounds, we've got 4 stitches from the previous round, making 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the next round, and I'm going to carry on doing that. So here we are at the end of the round. We've got 3 stitches left there to go, and I am on 55. So this is 56, 1 in there, 57, 1 in there, 58, 1 in there, and then your increase is 2 stitches in that last half treble of the previous round, and then slip stitch into this first stitch from the previous round, popping your hook under there, yarn over, pull through and pull through. Now it is looking very wiggly, isn't it? Look at that. But it will, I promise you, sit flat. If at this point you thought, do you know what, I just don't trust Lizzie, what you could do is get something like one of those, like a styrofoam board or one of those foam play mats and some pins, and simply block it. So when you block, you pop in, you want pins that aren't going to rust, and you simply pop in and you wet it and you simply pop pins all the way around and you just stretch it ever so slightly and then let it dry. So if you're worried, you can do that, but trust me, this will sit flat, especially when we've got the sides on. So now that is what we're going to be doing. Okay, The first round of this, we are going to be working what we call the back loop only. So when I've been talking about on the top of every single stitch, you have 2 loops. The loop that's nearest to you is the front loop, and the loop that's furthest away from you is the back loop. So instead of working our stitches into both of those, we're going to be putting our hook into that back one only for this round, okay? And what that will do, it will allow our sides to come out. You can go through both, and if you want to go through both still, you can, but you'll have a more curved base into side transition, whereas doing this round into the back loop only, and it's just this round, this next round, that will allow your sides to come up more, and you'll have a less of a curve here. You'll see what I mean in a minute when we start doing it. Okay, so same as all the other previous rounds, we are going to do chain 2. So 1, 2, and we're going into the same stitch like we did on every other round that chain 2 is coming out from, but instead of going in like that into both of those loops, we're going into that back loop. So you pop your hook in the middle there and just pick up that back one. Can you see? So that's your back loop, and the front loop, let me get something that's a little pointy. Your front loop is just there. Okay, so we then do our half treble. Okay, so we're going to yarn over into that back loop and then complete our stitch like we have been. Okay, and it will look a bit loose and a bit gapey, but it will sort itself out, I promise. Okay, so yarn over, and we're not doing any increases now. Okay, we're simply putting 1 stitch into 1 stitch from the round below. So yarn over into that back loop only. So we've avoided that front loop just there, and then pull through. Okay, so yarn over. So instead of going in like that to both, you're going in the middle there and just picking up that back loop. Okay, and we're going to go like that all the way around. So a half treble, 1 half treble in every stitch from the round below, using just that back loop only, and that's going to give us a crisp edge at the bottom. Okay, it's going to give us a crisp transition from our base to the sides of our basket. Can you see what I've done? So when we keep going and it starts to stand up, the side will be very much like that, and you can see here these are all the front loops that we haven't used. And we've put our stitch in just that back loop. Okay, so we're going to carry on, and we're just going to keep going in that back loop all the way around with our half treble stitches. And I will see you back around here in a minute. Okay, so here we are back just at the end of this round, this first round where we've been going in the back loop only. I've got 4 stitches here left to go. So going in that back loop only there. When we've done that last one, we are going to slip stitch, but into both loops. Okay, so we're going back. That was just our only round. Can you see the little ridge we've got? It's the little ridge, those first loops that we haven't, front loops that we haven't used. So then we're going to go back and we're going to do our slip stitch into there through both loops, the top of that stitch. Okay, now even though it doesn't look like it's going to start coming up at the moment, it will. Okay, trust me. Okay, because we're not increasing anymore, so this will lift. Okay, so let's go around again, and you're just going to keep going around and round and round and round for as high as you want it. Okay, so chain 2, and then we're doing a half treble, both loops again, and just 1 in every stitch, and this is what you're going to do until you've got the desired height. Okay, so you're just going to keep going round and round and round. Let's just do that one properly, shall we? easy for your hook to get caught. You might find that when you first start crocheting that happens a lot. And different wools will do it. Some wools can be quite, what I call splitty, and can easily split with your hook. You'll find a hook that you like, you'll find yarns that you like. You might prefer acrylic, you might prefer real wool, you might prefer cotton. It just depends what you end up fancying really, as to what you then find is your favourite. On your start, you will find the more you crochet, the quicker you get, and the more easily your hook and your yarn just fly. Don't forget, I've been doing this for 9 years now, so you should have seen me when I started. Hilarious. Okay, so that's all we're going to keep doing, and that will eventually, it will start to stand up. Usually takes 2 or 3 rounds of just not increasing, of having the same stitch count, because we ended up on 60, and that's what we've got now, 60 all the way around. And it takes a little bit of time, a few rounds before you start to see the sides stand up, but they will do, I promise you. You've got to keep the faith, and that bottom will sort itself out as well. Doing these sides will help that bottom flatten out, gives it some tension and some structure. And then we're going to be popping it over something and spray starching it to give it some extra help to stay strong for whatever you're going to be putting into it. It's our last half treble there, and then slip stitch into the first one from that round, and you will see that they're starting to come up. Once you've got more of a side, that base will sort itself out, and this will just come up and up and up. So I'm going to keep going, and then when I've done a few more rounds and created a little bit of height to this basket, I will show you how to do the top edging, which is optional, but I think it finishes the basket off really nicely. Okay, so now you can see that I have done about 10 rounds outside. So we've got the base, and then you can see that edge there from where we worked into the back loop only, and then we've got our sides as promised. The sides stand up and the bottom is flat. So I'm going to finish the end of this round, and then I'm going to show you how to do the edging. I'll also show you at the end how to block this and starch it, more importantly, so that it's just a bit firmer. You don't have to do that. If you want, you know, a basket that looks a bit more, I guess, kind of casual or homemade, or you just don't want it to have such a firm finished look, then you don't need to starch it. If you want it to, the sides to kind of have a similar form all the way around, and you want to just be stiffer and more supportive for whatever you're going to put in it, then you would want to starch it. I use spray starch in a can, in an aerosol can. You can just get it from the supermarket. It's not very expensive. And I just spray with that, having found something the right size to put the basket over, and then saturate it really in the spray starch and allow it to dry. It can take 24, I tend to leave it at least 24, 48 hours, to be honest, before I remove whatever I've used as my support, just to make sure it's completely dry and has really taken on the form. And is, you know, if you're gonna starch it, you wanna do a good job on it. Right, so here we go, last few stitches of this round. And as I say, the joy of this pattern is you can just keep going. You can just keep going. You know, at the beginning, if you wanted to make a basket that wasn't so wide, you could have stopped here and then come up. Pencil pot, for example, makeup brush holder, anything you want really. So last stitch in there, and then I'm going to show you the slip stitch there like that. So there is our basket. And then I'm just going to show you just a really nice, it's a double crochet. It's a really easy stitch, just to finish off and give a nice little edging to the top. So we've been doing a half treble where we've been doing yarn over, in, and then you've got 3 on your hook. This one, you don't yarn over first, okay? And we're just going to chain 1 at the start of this round because the stitch isn't quite so tall. So chain 1, and then you're simply going to insert your hook in that stitch, pull up a loop. You'll only have 2, and you pull through 2. And we're going to do that all the way around. So insert your hook, pull a loop 3 through, 2 on your hook, yarn over, pull through those 2 loops on your stitch on your hook. And that is all you're going to do all the way around. And because it's a shorter stitch, it's, I guess, a bit denser and a bit firmer. So it just gives a really nice top to your basket. If you wanted to put handles on your little basket, this would be the time to do that. And I will probably do an extension to this tutorial where I show you that. But for now, we're just going to go around with our double crochet all the way around, and it just gives a really nice, neat finish to the top. So I'll see you when I come back round and I'll show you how to finish off. Right, so here we are just at the end of this round, this final optional edging, should you wish to. I just think it gives the top of it just a really nice little finish. Last double crochet stitch in there, and then a slip stitch in there and pull through there. And then to finish, we are going to snip there, pull all the way through, and then we're just going to weave that end in so you won't see it. Okay, so this end here in the bottom, pull it really tight and we'll just weave it in there with a darning needle. And then the same here, just weave it in along there so you can't see the end. And then you'd want to find something upside down that you could then pop this over. It would need to be a bit bigger than that, which would then give it a lovely form. You would then spray it with the spray starch and saturate it, and then just leave it to dry. And when you took it off, it would be a lot more sturdy and be really supportive. But yeah, as you can see there, you can keep your crochet hooks in that. You could keep your makeup brushes in that. You could keep anything in it really, but yeah, stiffening it, as you can see with the starch, is going to really help give it some form and some structure. Any questions, please feel free to pop me a message, and I'll be very happy to help. And I hope you've enjoyed this video. Bum, 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 bum.